out 6 different ways to quietly disappear should it prove necessary. One of the disadvantages of living in my world is that you can never relax when you're out in public. You always have to be prepared for enemy action. The Colonel slipped in off the street with an easy grace and stood for a moment just inside the doors so he could look the place over, like a predator checking out the possibilities at a new watering hole. This haughty-looking individual was a new colonel, the old one having been murdered last year. I caught his killer and avenged his death, but that didn't bring him back. The colonel is the middleman, the go-between, the overseer and case officer for all his very special agents. I have no idea what his real name might be, but then he doesn't know mine. If the colonel is a mystery, the organization we both work for is a myth, an urban legend of the hidden world. The people who move behind the scenery, making the decisions that really matter. I have no idea who or what they might be, but as long as they preserve my anonymity and provide me with work worth doing, I'm happy enough to go along. The new colonel was a tall and elegant presence in his mid-30s, dressed in the finest 3-piece business suit Savile Row had to offer, which should have made him stand out in such an everyday setting. But he was wrapped in so much unself-conscious authority, no one wanted to look at him for fear of attracting his attention. In his own way, he was as invisible as I was. Almost certainly ex-military, given his bearing, and handsome enough in a supercilious sort of way. He looked the pizza parlour over as though he'd never set foot in such an establishment before, and now, having done so, was convinced he'd been right all along. His stern gaze finally picked me out of the crowd, and he strode through the packed tables with a magnificent disdain for one and all. A waiter tried to distract him with a brandished menu so he could direct the colonel to a table in his area, only to wither and fall back under the colonel's icy stare. The great man finally slammed to a halt in front of me, and I made a point of ignoring him as I concentrated on my pizza. "Next time," said the colonel in his best clipped and businesslike tones, "I will choose the setting for our meeting." "No, you won't," I said, looking up to fix him with my best cold stare. "You can call me any time, and I'll answer, because that's the deal I made when I joined the organization. But I decide when and where I appear in public. I wouldn't feel safe in any place you'd feel comfortable." The colonel indulged himself with another small sigh. "Did you lecture my predecessor like this?" "I didn't need to," I said. "We respected each other. Tell me, why are you always the colonel? Did I join the army and nobody told me?" "I really couldn't say." "And people wonder why I have trust issues. Would you care to order something so you won't look entirely out of place?" "I think not," said the colonel. "I shall be dining at my club later." "You won't get food like this there." "Exactly. Now let me explain why you're here." "Does it have something to do with Mummy and Daddy and a very special hug?" "I understand the old colonel was prepared to indulge your general impertinence and lack of respect," he said heavily. "I, on the other hand, am famous for my complete lack of a sense of humour when it comes to such things." I smiled at him, not entirely unkindly. "Unclench, Colonel. You'll last longer, trust me. I've been doing this a lot longer than you." "Since 1963, to be exact," said the colonel. "You don't look your age, Mr. Jones." "You don't know my age," I said. "I've read your file," said the colonel. "It didn't take me long because there isn't much in it. No personal details, no background, no photos, just a list of the cases you've worked on and their outcome. Who are you, Ishmael Jones?" "Wrong question," I said. "What is